This time on the Austin Healey channel, we trim the package shelf and polish the cockpit trim. I thought we'd go ahead and do this. It still has the knob on it. It really just needs cleaned up and painted and reupholstered. So, I know there's not really much to note on it. It's just kind of ugly and dirty. Got a bend in it right through here. I wasn't expecting that. Let's put it up to the car and see if the holes line up. I don't remember taking it out. So I had ordered a kit to reupholster the glove box? No, the package shelf from a head for Heelys. That's where it came from. And there's some things that, well, they're not like what came off of it. And I think this is the original piece. It has the carpet stripes going this way. The new piece kind of has the stripes going this way, and even that it's not quite straight. But that's okay. It's a minor detail. The concourse guide actually says that they came out of the factory either way. Okay, we can deal with that. The other thing, it came with this big thing. I think the way it's supposed to work is that it fits under here and all this gets wrapped around, and so it covers up the bottom part. Problem is, that's not how it was done originally. It didn't have that much fabric and it didn't have the seam along here. It was really simply a band that went along here, wrapped over this way, and wrapped over this way. And not very far, only like, ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch. And glued down. We're going to go ahead and upholster this and stick it under the dash. In my sewing kit at home, I have a seam ripper, which is the right tool to do this. But since it's at home, we're just going to use a razor blade. You kind of pull it apart till the threads show, and then you cut them. Now the important thing is to let it set, let it dry before you try to stick it together. Otherwise it's just going to come back apart. So be patient with it. Don't try to do it all at once, and you'll be okay. All right, with this all sticky and stuff. See there, I started in the middle and worked towards the corners, and then I have the corner to do, and these are pretty big radii. I think I'll do a couple darts. One there, one over here. So then this can lay down, and this can lay down. And that can lay down. Once we get it all put on, we're going to go back and trim this off so it's nice and even all the way around. Then the carpet just goes in. It might need trimmed down a little bit. A little off the back. And a little off one side. And the original one was glued in, so we are going to go ahead and do that as well. Just around the edge. Well, the front edge. You can see here and along here and up there. Let it dry. Now there's some extra screw holes here that actually aren't filled with anything. It's in case it's right-hand drive versus left-hand drive. So they just get screws put in place to fill the holes. With the package shelf in place, the next most important thing to do is install the driver's handbook. This is the extra little transmission tunnel piece. I have it sandblasted, painted, wrapped in the insulation stuff. I think originally this would have jute on it. We're using the insulation instead of the jute. The piece of upholstery that's supposed to go on it, if it's wrapped around, it basically is just the carpet. So I think it should be shorter so that, for example, this front edge has a little edge of vinyl sticking out, and this wraps around and gets glued to the back. And that should be the same on the back, except for if you do that on the back, it's just carpet. So pretty simple fix. I'm gonna mark where the edge is, and then use that as a new line to put a new seam along there, thus making it shorter, and when I wrap it, it'll have the edge on both sides like it's supposed to. With the upholstery kits, it's kind of like buying a suit. You can buy a suit off the rack and it'll kind of fit. You know, you get the right size and, you know, it's okay. But then you can also have a suit custom made, and then it fits you exactly. Though a custom made suit is going to be a whole lot more expensive than an off the rack suit. But there's a middle ground. You can take a off the rack suit and have it tailored so it fits better. So it gets closer to the custom made suit, and it just tightens things up a bit. And that's really all we're gonna do with this upholstery job. The upholstery, this is a good way to get the materials. Then you can simply make the alterations you need, and you have a very nice fitting upholstery job. While we have the sewing machine out, there's one thing I wanted to take care of. This back piece here is a bit long, and this is supposed to fold up and then the cockpit trim gets attached. But this piece gets in the way on part of it, but not on the other, so afraid it's going to push it out of place. So we're going to mark it right along the edge and have the seam be right along that edge, and then the Velcro, the vinyl wrap around and glue in place, and then the trim will sit nicer. So we're just going to mark it right along the edge. Unfortunately, this is already glued in place, so I'm going to have to pull it out. But that's okay. So my car didn't come with all the cockpit trim pieces, so I had to buy this back one. So it's a lot shinier than this one. I just have this one on now to see its placement. As you can see, it came a little bit longer than necessary. So I put it in place so I can mark it and then chop it off. This side's fitting pretty good, so one of the things I'll have to do later is add a spacer under here to bring these in alignment. But for the moment, I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm going to go ahead and see how well these polish up. I started by sandblasting it just to get down to an even level. There's some pretty deep gouges and stuff. We're not going to try to like get all of them out, but we'll do what we can. I'm going to start with some 180. And I know it seems aggressive, but you know, we just build up off of that. So it's at this very beginning point where you have to decide how deep you're going to go, how many of these scratches and stuff you want to get out, because after that it's really just polishing and getting the scratches from this level off. I think I'm going to go a bit deeper because it still looks pretty bad, and there's a lot of beefy material here that can handle it. So I've switched to 120. I'm going to go with the machine. As you can see, I think there's still going to be some scratches in it that just aren't going to come out. Well, I guess they could, but then it wouldn't be the right shape. These are just too deep for that. But I think this is as far as I want to go with it. So now we'll just go through the consecutive grades of sandpaper. Learning to polish stuff is a very important thing to learn if you're restoring cars. To go through all the steps, all the... I don't know, it sounds easier than it is. You know, you hit it with the heavy stuff to get the scratches out, and then you just go through the next steps of all the different grades of sandpaper, and then you buff it out. You know, that sounds simple, but you really have to get a feel for it, and the only way to do that is to practice. This is 240. Now we're going to switch to wet sanding. And you can start to see shine coming up. That was 600 grit. Move up to 1,000 now. So in between grades, I'm wiping it down to see where we are, to make sure I'm getting all the sanding marks out from the previous layer. I think from here we're just going to try and polish it, because it's the aluminum's soft and the polish will work rather quickly. First we got to get all the dirt and stuff over it. Here's something interesting. These cockpit trims were stamped with the car number. And this is not my car number. So whoever has a car 13530, well, let me know. Maybe we could do some horse trading. Does it look new? No, it does not look new, but it looks authentic. It looks a lot better. I guess I forgot to say that originally these weren't polished. Well, first they polished them up, then they sent them off to be anodized. Anodizing aluminum is a process where they basically dye it. They put it in a, you can anodize with fabric dye. It's a whole nother process. We're just going to polish them. Actually, the new one isn't anodized either. It's just polished. Anyway, it looks a whole lot better than it did, and I think it's certainly usable. And it gives it that historic feel. So it doesn't look like, a brand new car. It looks like it's something that's been around for a while. These scratches and pits and stuff, it's part of the history of it. The fact that this isn't the correct one for the car, that's part of the history of it. This car has been heavily repaired at some point using probably a lot of parts from this car. I'll put this on the driver's door and nah, because actually that needs work.
If you want to come along on the ride as we complete this project, click the subscribe button. If you want YouTube to tell you every time there's a new video, click the alarm bell. Thanks for watching, and your support is very much appreciated.